Hey G Nation, it's your favorite nurse Jasmine, and I'm back today with another video. So today's video is going to be all about your clinical experience. This video is going to be beneficial for all levels of nursing care. So no matter if you are LVN, LPN, your ADN, your BSN, or your MSN, this video is going to contain tips and tricks to help you make the most of your clinical experience, so that way once you start into the real world, you're not completely blindsided. So if you are interested in more tips and tricks, please continue to watch. I know when we first found out in nursing school that we were going to have to do clinicals, I was gassed, but I was also so scared. I was so nervous. It is the most like nerve-wracking thing. Even though I learned the best doing hands-on skills, I was still super nervous. I didn't know what to expect. And the same thing goes for when I started my master's program and I knew that I was going to have to do clinicals with a nurse practitioner. So I was just super I was nervous. I didn't know what to expect, and I just went to it blindsided. So I'm just going to give you guys a couple of tips and tricks to help you make the most of your clinical experience, especially since you guys know as an ICU nurse, I was actually offered a job based on my clinical performance. I just wanted to share what helped me out. So let's just jump right into it. So the first things first is you need to be prepared. You need to know how many clinical hours is required of you. You need to know what days you're going to be doing your clinicals. For the most part, nursing schools will actually structure it to where they tell you what days your clinicals are, how many hours you need, when to show up, what to expect. However, there are some programs that you are required to find your own clinical sites and your own clinical internships. And it can be a very frustrating process. For the most part, you need to be prepared. You need to get a planner. I know some people are anti-planners. So I don't care if you have a physical planner or you are planning in your phone or a Google Calendar, whatever you use to physically look at your schedule, you need it. Because let me tell you, there's nothing worse than thinking that your clinical day is on a Friday to find out that it was on Thursday, you missed clinicals, and now you have to make up those clinical hours. Because if you do not fulfill all of the requirements, you cannot pass to the next level. No matter how good you are, no matter how smart you are, no matter whatever skill checkoffs you've done, if you do not meet those hours, you will not pass, and they will make you do it over. So make sure that you are fully prepared. Be prepared to do all of your hours within the semester. So during med-surg, I think I did the weekend program. So no, that was foundation. So during foundations of nursing or fundamentals of nursing, whatever your program calls it, we were only required to do one clinical shift, one 12-hour clinical shift a week. And I chose to do a weekend program because it worked better for my schedule. And during med-surg, commons, mental health, labor, women's health, peds, all that other stuff, we were required to do 2 12-hour clinical days. So for the second thing, for nursing school specifically, you want to make sure that you have a good resource for your nursing care plans. For me, I personally use Ackley. It was a suggested book from the college. However, I purchased it when I found out that it literally helps you break down every nursing care plan, all of your NANDAs, was right there, and it saved me so much time. I did not find this book. I did not start using my Ackley until I believe med-surg 2, which for us was complex. And that's because, like I said, it was a suggested book. When you get your textbook list, it's already so long and so expensive that you're like, if it isn't required, I'm not purchasing it. However, there was another student that purchased it in med-surg 1, or as we called it, commons, and she was like, Jasmine, you need this book. It literally has everything in it. So once I purchased Ackley, it saved me so much freaking time. I'm telling you guys, it was like a lifesaver, and it cut down the amount of time that I spent doing my nursing care plans, and I don't miss one bit of that. Just to get out to the real world and found out that all of my nursing care plans are literally a click, 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 click. So the next tip is going to make sure that you have something to write down. In nursing school, we were not allowed to have our cell phones on our person. However, we were allowed to have notebooks, clipboards, pens, pencils, all that other stuff. What I would do if there was something that I was not familiar with, or it's something that we haven't covered in school that I didn't know, I would make sure to write it down. So for example, I took care of a patient that had ARDS and she was on a rotaprone, and I had never seen that in my life. I was like, I don't know what to do. I mean, I had seen patients on vents and patients that had pneumonia or patients that had respiratory failure, but an ARDS patient on a rotaprone, I was completely clueless and did not know what to do. So I made sure to write down every single thing my nurse told me, even if it is something that I had already prepared the night before going to clinicals, such as medications and the importance of it. Because a lot of times the meds that they give are not, even though it is used for one thing, they could be giving it for something else. And I was just like trying to soak up as much information as I could. And that's what you're there to do. You're there to pick your nurse's brain, talk to the patients, talk to the families. You are basically in clinical to learn and soak up as much information as possible. And you need to take full advantage of that. Right now, that patient is not your responsibility. Yes, you're helping assistant and you're giving medications and you're doing your med passes and things like that. But you're also there to try to learn the stuff that they don't teach you in school. How to use your nursing judgment, how to talk to families and communicate with the families as far as what's going on with the person. And sometimes you cannot remember every single thing that you learned that day. So it's very important to have something with you to write down as much as you can. So that way when you go home, you can review it. It is so important to reflect on everything that you learned during that clinical day once you get home. That's just the only way you're going to learn. You're going to remember and be able to apply it the next time you see that situation. The next thing is to make sure you talk to the nurses on the unit. Talk to the nurses, talk to the unit clerks. If you see the director, introduce yourself. The director, DON, nursing supervisor, whoever you got on the floor, make sure you introduce yourself. Make your presence known, especially if it's a unit and a floor that you are interested in. So say if you are interested in pediatric and you notice that there is a family that has been there for a very long time. If you want to take care of that family and just kind of get a feel out of the unit, like how, I know you guys have been here for a long time, how's the nursing staff, you know, which doctors are your favorite. That's how you get a feel of like, is this something that I really want to do? Is this a unit that I really want to work in? You start to build bonds with the patients. You build bonds with the nurses, the unit clerks, housekeeping, because most of them have been there for a very long time. Be very nice to everybody. I don't care what I don't care if it's dietary. I don't care if it's maintenance, especially if it's maintenance, because child, they be coming in clutch, because I'm quick to break a call. Like, I'll be like, I don't know what I'm doing to this freaking call. Like, can you please come up here? But just make sure that you are friendly to everybody. Make sure that you show up your incorrect uniform. Your uniform is clean. Don't really wear perfumes and things like that. But, you know, talk to the nurses and ask them, you know, how were you able to get this position? Like, oh my gosh, this is something that I really want to do. Make your presence known. That is how you stand out from the rest. Because there's some people like me. I went to pediatrics, and yes, I was there and I did the best that I could, but I knew that that wasn't a floor that I really wanted to work in. I knew I didn't want to be a pediatric nurse. Although I introduced myself, you know, to other nurses because that's just who I am. I want to talk to everybody and get to know everybody and be like, you know, hi, I'm Jasmine, I'm a nursing student, whatever. If there's anything interesting that you think that I would learn from and I would benefit from, please come and get me. And I hope you guys know that I might ask 1,010 questions, but it's only because I really want to learn. But I knew that that wasn't a position that I wanted, so I didn't go as far as ask them, you know, how did you get this position? Is there openings available? Like, especially when you're coming up towards the end of your semester. Like, I knew that wasn't something I wanted, so I didn't make that effort. However, when I was in the ICU, I knew that was something that I wanted. I tried to stay in the ICU as much as possible. I know in some clinical experiences, being in the ICU is limited. I made it a point to spend my whole entire last semester in the ICU, and I did, and I absolutely loved it. Don't regret it. And that is, you know, how I got my position. Our director was new when she came on the floor, and they were, you know, introducing her to everybody else. I made sure I was introduced as well. Hello, I'm Jasmine. I'm a nursing student. This is my last semester, and I am interested in this unit. So, you know, you have to be boisterous. You have to speak up. Closed mouths don't get fed. That is something that I have been told since I was little. And if you want something and you don't speak on it and you don't make it a point to let everyone know that that is something that you want, no one's gonna know. They're gonna think that you're another typical nursing student who, like, I don't know, just is there to do your clinical hours and go. If you are interested in the unit, make sure you do what is necessary without being like overbearing and obnoxious and, you know, very cocky-ish. You don't have to do all that. It can be done very professional. You just have to let them know that you are interested in the unit, and there's nothing wrong with that. So the last thing I want to tell you guys is just to do as much as possible. I know they give you a certain amount of things that you are required to do during the semester, things that need to get checked off. But however, if you are given the opportunity to help extubate a patient, or if you're given the opportunity to insert an IV with your instructor nearby, put in a Foley, do a bed bath, do a complete bed change, because when I tell you, you will never not do a complete bed change. Learn it, master it, get it done. I can do it like nobody's business now. But take the opportunity, if it is given to you, to do as many clinical skills as possible. Even if you can sit up there and say, I've already done my checkoffs for the semester or for the week and I don't need anything else, and then there's a patient who needs a Foley taken out, or there's a patient who needs an NG tube put in. Make sure, if you are given the opportunity and they want you to do it, do it. I know nursing students get stuck with the brunt of things like, oh, you know, this person peed on themselves, can you help clean them? Or this person needs to get put on, you know, a bedpan, can you help? Do it, because then when you are out there on your own, you won't look like such a newbie in the sense that you can't do some of the basics. Because although you are a new grad, they still expect you to be able to, you know, help pivot and turn a patient if that is a one assist, or help with a bed bath, help with a Foley. Like, those are things that they expect you to know how to do. Now, some of the other skills, you know, that comes with time. But if your nurse is giving you the opportunity, even freaking prime an IV line with no bubbles, do it. I remember my nurse drilled that in me, and now I can do it in the dark. And I honestly despise seeing IVs started and there's so many bubbles in it, and you lose 60 cc's of whatever antibiotic or fluid that you're giving at the moment because there's so many freaking bubbles in it. So those are skills that honestly will help you perform better once you're out in the real world. So please, please take advantage of every opportunity that you are giving while you're in your clinical setting. Just remember, you're there to learn, and although you might have to do some of the grunt work, just be grateful that you're given this opportunity, because I can tell you there's probably about 1,000 plus, you know, pre-nursing students that would kill to be in your spot and be given the opportunity to learn and become a nurse. This opportunity is not given to everybody. Please be thankful and grateful that you are in the position to do it, especially if it's something that you're passionate about doing. So that is it for my spiel all about clinicals. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, feel free to leave it down below. If you are looking for a notebook to carry around while you are in clinicals, definitely hit up my store. I'll leave that link below as well. I will have some new notebooks coming out next month, closer to school being started, even though I know school starts in August for some of you guys. Maybe I'll launch them a little early. So yeah, if you have any other comments, questions, or concerns, feel free to leave it below in the comment box. Please subscribe before you leave if you haven't subscribed yet, as well as follow me over on Instagram. And until the next video, I'll talk to all of you hunts later. Don't forget to stay boss up and conquer. Mwah.